Vegas done messed up because the odds for Pereira versus Ankalaev should not be as close as they are. You know, Pereira is finally the favorite in this fight, but for some reason it's closer than it should be, you know, because this fight is not going to be close. I do not see a world where Big Ank gets the win over Poatan here.
And that's where we differ.
Maybe I'm speaking with a little hyperbole, get some views here, but...
No, Big Ank has the best chance out of anyone who Pereira's faced to beat him.
Let me tell you,
which is why this fight is so good.
Yeah, let me tell you about the recent years of Mr. Ankalaev's career. You know,
all right, let's hear.
2 wins over Kudalaba back to back. You know, big wins. Win over Nikita Krylov. Win over Uzdemir. Win over Thiago Santos. Win over Anthony Smith. Draw versus Jan Blachowicz. No contest versus Johnny Walker. Win over Johnny Walker, and then the win over Rakic. You know, just absolutely amazing resume. Should we talk about Pereira since he came to the UFC?
All right, let's hear it. Let's hear his Bruno Silva win.
He got that first initial win over Andreas Michailidis, close enough. Bruno Silva, Sean Strickland, Israel Adesanya, lost to Izzy, but then came back, beat Jan, beat Prohaska, beat Jamal Hill, beat Prohaska, and beat Roundtree.
You know what's insane? How he went from Bruno Silva to Sean Strickland in one fight.
And then Strickland immediately to Adesanya. Because Strickland wasn't even super high at this point.
I think he was about 7 or 8 maybe.
Because he would have been around the point. This would have been... No, Strickland would have had to have gotten another win after he lost to Pereira before fighting Adesanya.
Must have. I can't remember who it was.
But he came in on short notice. But there was still time in between that, you know? But I bet you at this point, Sean was probably around 10. Because I think he was 8 when he fought Adesanya.
Yeah, he probably didn't move down though.
Yeah.
When Pereira beat him, probably like 9 or 10.
But he would have had to have won a couple fights and moved up, you know?
Yeah, but the run from Pereira is more impressive than Ankalaev, but it's the fact that Ankalaev, it's the style, right? Styles make fights, and Pereira has been matched up with predominantly strikers, other than I would say Jan Blachowicz, who wrestled him. But other than that, he's had a relatively easier career than some other lower weight divisions might have. You know, if this dude was in featherweight, I doubt he would have ever got to the belt. You know, even Topuria, with the crazy power he has, you have to have wrestling defense. Or a guy like Bryce Mitchell fraud checks you. Yeah. Right?
How much credit do you put into saying that Alex Pereira has his wrestling has improved 50% since he fought Jan Blachowicz?
Well, I was actually thinking about that. I was thinking about a percentage, trying to put it into like how much has he improved, because I was wondering myself. And I was like, okay, from his first Israel Adesanya fight where he got taken down by Izzy and he got dominated on the ground by Izzy, that was embarrassing, right?
Yeah.
To now, how much has he improved? And I was like, dude, it could be as much as 200%.
Yeah, because here's the thing is that we never see... Here's the thing. You in camps for Pereira, you never see him wrestling. That's just something you don't see. They don't show the videos of him wrestling.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, maybe because no one wants to watch him wrestle. They just want to see him kickbox.
Yeah.
You know? But you got to believe that this guy's going to camps versus, you know, his last 4 fights have been Prohaska, Hale, Prohaska, Roundtree.
Yeah, and in the first fight, Prohaska did wrestle him a little bit.
A guy like Prohaska, you have to train wrestling and grappling for, because you never know what this weirdo is going to do.
I mean, I think in all of your fights, like the Jan fight, obviously, and then all of the ones beyond that, because you don't know if these guys are just saying that they're going to strike with you, and then they end up wrestling.
And how much do you have to improve your striking to go fight Cleo Roundtree, go fight Prohaska, go fight Hill?
It's more of maintaining.
Yeah, you maintain that striking, but then you build up the areas where you're lacking in, you know? Because imagine you're like versus Roundtree and you're like, well, he's dominating me with the feet. I guess I got to shoot now.
Yeah.
And then you want to submit him?
Imagine Pereira had to submit Roundtree.
Imagine Pereira submits Ankalaev.
That's the hardcore pick.
That's I'm seeing that one going around Twitter. They're like, imagine, would feed families if he did that.
One thing I do want to talk about, though, because I think a lot of people might be assuming that we're just glazing Pereira, saying how much his wrestling has improved. But I want to talk about something called the law of diminishing returns. All right. So if you've been good at anything for 10, 15 years, another year of doing it is not going to improve you very much. It might be 1%, 0.5% less. Michael Phelps swam for years and years every day to shave 0.1 seconds off his time. Pereira, starting wrestling when he's 35 years old, 34 years old, has so much to improve. You improve by 3% every time you do a wrestling session when you first start, right? That's just how it goes. Same with jiu-jitsu, right? Like we've both tried jiu-jitsu. Think about how much you improve in your first 2 sessions.
Yeah, maybe not the first.
But you go from knowing nothing to knowing so much,
and then you're whipping out all 15 break falls or whatever.
Exactly. So, like, what I'm trying to explain is that Pereira almost had no experience in that Adesanya fight. So, if you're looking at the Adesanya fight, and even to an extent the Blachowicz fight, and saying, "Oh, Pereira's takedown defense is bad. Pereira's bottom control is bad. Pereira's ground game is awful. He has no submissions. He has no wrestling." Like, he had no wrestling 2 years ago. But if he's improved by 50%, that's a big difference.
And if he had no wrestling, he would have gotten submitted by Jan Blachowicz in the first round.
Yeah.
You don't stay on the bottom for as long as Pereira did with no wrestling.
Yeah. Or even being able to get up in the second round. You know, he got taken down in the second round, second round with 1.5 minutes left, and he was able to get up. Right. So he's obviously improving. He's always working on these things. So I think it's really unfair to say on both sides. It's fair to say Pereira is the same wrestler he was 2 years ago. And it's unfair to say Ankalaev was the same striker he was when he fought Blachowicz.
Yeah.
Obviously, both guys are still improving. But what I'm saying is the rate of improvement is drastically different for someone like Pereira, who's new to wrestling, compared to Ankalaev, who's been striking since he was 17.
Mm-hmm. I like that theory there, because it makes sense.
Yeah. And people just don't talk about it. Like, there's so much. And look, we're a casual channel, all right? But there's so many intricacies that just don't get talked about when you talk about a matchup of the fight. Yeah. And some people just don't want to hear that, which is
when
fine.
You talk about sports, and the difference between Pereira and Ankalaev is points of a percentage. Like if we say that Pereira is 100% because he's the light heavyweight champion, Ankalaev's 99.5%, 99%.
Exactly.
It's that close.
And then it comes down to things like a weight cut could go bad. Sickness, right? We saw Pereira almost lose to Roundtree because he was not doing well.
Yeah,
he was very sick.
He was sick
fever.
At altitude.
Yeah.
It was just a mess,
yeah.
And that's the world we live in with MMA, with these weight cuts where it's like one bad weight cut can throw you off, or one bad night. Leon Edwards had that. It was the worst night of his career, and it happened to be in the main event championship fight. That's what can happen. Ankalaev, struggling with the Ramadan, could completely throw everything off for him,
Yeah. Well, I don't agree with because you're finished your camp a week out from the fight, and Ramadan actually starts exactly 1 week out from the fight. It's actually perfect timing because you're you're pretty much
you already are fasting,
every day to make weight. So I don't want to see any talk about how Pereira's getting some massive advantage during Ramadan. Maybe there's some psychological effect, but if you're Ankalaev, there's going to be psychological effects anyways from fighting Pereira.
Here's the thing, though. Also looking at it on a spiritual level, you're more in touch with yourself while you're fasting. Yeah. There's a reason that they fast, and that's to be more in touch with themselves and with their God. That's
that's
the whole point of fasting. So who knows? Maybe it's an advantage.
And Pereira has Shama powers.
Yeah. So
ancestor versus ancestor, bar for bar, who's gonna win? That's a big. The ancestors are ready to go, which is exciting. But I want to ask you, Don, what do you think are the keys to victory for Alex Pereira, and on the other side for Ankalaev?
I think Pereira's key to victory is full body damage. Because I know you mentioned this in another video, but if Pereira can damage the full body of Ankalaev, it's going to just make everything harder. Those calves, those body shots, it's going to make shooting for takedowns harder. It's going to make everything. It's going to make being on top harder. It's just going to make Ankalaev's life harder because he's going to be just struggling in pain. It's like what you said with the Jan Blachowicz fight. Once Pereira started doing damage to the whole body, then it just made everything harder for Jan Blachowicz. I think that's the key, For Ankalaev, I think his key's ground and pound damage, where if you're going to, don't just hold down Pereira for 3 minutes, do some damage while you're on top there, do something. Don't just hold him down for 3 minutes. Take advantage of that. Take risks. You can't play safe against Alex Pereira. We look at, his last 4 fights. Who played the safest? Jamal Hill probably played the safest. Ended out on his butt in a round. Yuri is never safe, but he also just played at Yuri. Who took the biggest risk? Roundtree.
Yeah.
Roundtree blitzed those first 2 rounds. Roundtree said, I'm going to give it all I got. And, if I end up on my back against the cage in round 4, that's okay because I'm going to go out there and do everything I could. He won those first 2 rounds. He gave Pereira his biggest test since Jan Blachowicz, since Israel Adesanya. Ankalaev's got to just not fight like Ankalaev. You can't treat this like it's Rakic, just little spar. Like you have to switch it up. You have to be different because just trying to spar with Pereira, you're never going to win that, So ground strikes, ground and pound, ground strikes, and do something different, mix it up.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think I'll talk about Ankalaev first because I think he has a clear path to victory. Ankalaev, the straight punches are going to be huge. It worked for Khalil Roundtree. It'll work for anyone because of Pereira's guard. It's just easy to slip a straight punch through the middle. His defense isn't ideal. It's not perfect. It's far from perfect. So I think the straight punches of Ankalaev, if he's going to do boxing, that's going to be huge for him. If he tries to, throw big hooks and big overhands, Pereira's just not there. He's too fast. He's too speedy, and he'll counter you with his own hook. I think keeping that I'm trying to think which hand it is. I think it's the right hand of Ankalaev up when he throws because he is a southpaw.
Yeah.
As long as he keeps the right hand up on defense, he needs to do that because Pereira's going to counter him with a hook for sure. And then the wrestling, I think ground and pound is the way to go. Submission threat isn't there as much for Ankalaev. It's obviously still there, but Pereira's actually very smart on the ground. He's intelligent.
Strong.
He's very calm. He doesn't freak out. So it's not like he's going to put himself in bad positions when he's on the ground. So I think that the ground and pound is going to be huge. And Ankalaev, it doesn't really take much energy, from Ankalaev. Do a little bit of ground and pound, sit for a while. A little bit of ground and pound. Like, it's a very clear way to win a round and you don't have to do much and it tires Pereira out. So I think if he can do that for 2 rounds and Pereira's dead tired, might be an easy fight for Ankalaev. On the other side, Pereira, I think he needs to be a bit more conservative with his kicks because it leaves him open for takedowns. When he does those high kicks against Khalil.
I think those did not work against Khalil.
No, I would prefer a front kick down the middle.
Yeah, or even the quick body shots, but those big head kicks, I don't. Yeah,
wasn't great. Even if Ank is open for it, like it's so easy to get takedown off that. So I'd stay away from those, but I do like the calf kicks from Pereira. We've seen Ankalaev get hurt all the time. That's what everyone's talking about, but Ankalaev's going to be ready for it. Doesn't really make a difference because everyone's ready for it at this point against Pereira, so it's going to be effective no matter what. And I think once we see Ank start to lose some of that mobility, the takedowns are going to get weaker, but Pereira just needs to keep his distance. He needs to fight at range.
That's where he shines.
Yeah, the boxing is going to be very, I think, equal between them. Ankalaev's a great boxer, but the kickboxing range is where Pereira needs to stay to win this fight. And then also, when he has him hurt up against the cage, because I do think there's going to be a minute where he rocks Ankalaev.
He's got to.
Yeah, I think he needs to take his time because Ankalaev will shoot for the hips. And I think he is patient. After that Izzy loss, I think that completely changed.
He's not going to just go and blitz in there.
Exactly.
He's going to, unless Ank's on his back.
Yeah. Even against like Roundtree, you think about how patient he was, like looking for the body shots.
Yeah, Roundtree had his back against the fence for like a minute, and Pereira just knew he had it, smooth sailing, calm. I think that's one thing that I don't think about enough with Pereira is just how calm and collected he is, and I think also like big difference, Pereira, if he gets taken down, you got to hope that he's next to the cage, next to his corner. That's a huge difference maker for him because having his corner help him walk through it will be big for him in this fight.
Yeah, Plinio and Teixeira.
Yeah,
two great.
Especially Teixeira would be like,
oh yeah,
because Teixeira is going to be like, I'm gonna tell you exactly what to do, Boaton. Do not sit up.
Glover's gonna jump in there himself and rip Ankalaev off. I'm excited for it though. Like, it's as much as I'm nervous because it's Pereira's biggest test. It was the fight to make. Even before the Khalil Roundtree fight, this fight should have been made. So I'm glad it's happening because we need to know if Pereira can defend from a wrestler.
Yeah. Over under time spent sitting down for me and you while watching this fight.
Oh, probably under 2 minutes.
Under 2 minutes.
Yeah,
like in that Khalil Roundtree fight, we sat down for like a little bit, and then immediately once Pereira got kind of rocked, I was like, all right, standing up.
I can't take it anymore.
Help me, someone help. All right, let's get into our final predictions for this fight.
Final predictions. I think it's going to be very close. I think Ankalaev's for sure going to steal rounds with wrestling, mixing it in, even doing big damage with boxing. So I don't see Ankalaev getting a KO unless it's a ground and pound finish. I don't see submission. I don't see Pereira dominating the early rounds just because Ankalaev's going to have that takedown threat. So I'm actually going to go decision, as crazy as Pereira decision is. I'm going to go decision for Pereira, 48-47. It's going to be close.
You know, I'm liking the late round KO for Pereira. You know, I think that Ankalaev is going to win, I don't know if dominate's the right word, but, you know, pretty much win those rounds with like definitively win those first couple rounds, at least the first two. I think round 3 is where we start to see that shift, could go either way. And then, you know, the second half of the fight, I think that's where we see Pereira. You know, those are the championship rounds. We've seen Pereira's cardio, you know, for light heavyweight. Pereira might have even the best cardio in light heavyweight, which is crazy.
Yeah, probably.
You know, and we haven't seen Ankalaev's cardio to the extent that we've seen Pereira's, you know, because he's in these 5-round camps. I'm liking the late round KO. I'm torn between 4 and 5, but I'm just really gut feeling round 5 KO for Pereira to, like, you know, cement it, you know, like the comeback. I'm feeling it. We love those stories. We love those narratives.
I'm actually nervous right now just thinking about
I'm already a little bit anxious about it. And, like, I literally cannot watch sports without having like full anxiety attacks. So
we'll film it. We'll film the reaction.
Yeah, we filmed the Jamal Hill fight, or was it the Yuri fight?
Khalil.
Yeah, sorry. Was it the Khalil fight we filmed?
Yeah, 307.
Yeah, we'll film this one again.
All right. Well, that's going to do it.
Yeah.
You're the outro guy.
Yeah, that's going to wrap it up for us today. Make sure you guys go down to the comments. Let us know who you guys are predicting. What's your prediction for this fight? While you guys are down there, make sure you guys are liking and subscribing because we got a bunch more UFC 313 content coming out and just general content every single day. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.
See ya.